So this is just a video of some of the things I've had to do to the engine bay, or some of the things I want to do to the engine bay before I even paint it. When I did mine, I figured out everything after it had been painted and once the engine was in, so knowing what I know now, I started before I even painted it. They're a bit mix and match because, you know, I don't really have the time to have a video recording the whole time you're trying to do things, and it never works out that way, so there will be a little bit here, there and everywhere, but they're in there, so you know, it'll give you an idea anyway. So as you can see, the whole car's been masked off and under sealed now all the way through. It's much cleaner. You know, it's a good place to start. I welded up the rust on the other side as well, but it's sorry, not the rust, the crack, but yeah, it's all nice and clean and black under there now, so it's a good base. A lot of this is actually worn off from gravel roads over the years. So when it comes to intercooler and radiator setup, I know that the factory mounts are out here, but even with a factory radiator and fan, which was where these were from, that's the radiator and the fan out of this car. I know with the Pinto in it, I couldn't put that electric fan on this side of it without it hitting the water pump pulley. So I need to make room for more than that. So I'm thinking about reshaping the top to recess the radiator, reshaping the bottom to recess the intercooler all the way in, and recess the radiator as well. And as you can see, there's a bit of coal in there. Currently there's 215 mil of cooling, 70 mil for the intercooler, 70 mil for the radiator, and that fan shroud setup is 75 mil, but I'm already thinking about arseholing that and just making my own. Just make it like I did mine and make it a lot closer and a lot thinner, and use the bigger fan. I think the 16-inch fan that's on the radiator down there that used to be in this car should fit on there, and it's a bit slimmer. So we'll see how we go, see if we can make it all work. So it's all marked out where I'm going to cut. I measured once, you know the story. Measure once, cut 19 times, add a bit in, cut some more out. I'm just going to cut that rectangle out there and see where I go from there. There's heaps of room behind that. It's easy to make something else. I know it's cutting up a really good car, but at the end of the day, it's his car. I'm doing the work. It's probably never going to be sold, and it's never going to go back to standard. So we're just going to do what we're going to do. I'm just going to make sure that I have the room I need for the intercooler radiator so nothing interferes with the motor. Well, it's cut out now, but you can see how much room that allows. And the piece I cut out, I marked it out in such a way that you've got meat on both sides of these, so I might just be able to flip that upside down, put it in that way, and then you've still got all of the ventilation or air movement you were going to have anyway, so that piece still might be used. Well, as per usual, you end up cutting a little bit more out, but that's kind of where the intercooler is going to sit. Managed to keep it away from the little serial number there as well, so I've got a bit of adjustment there, but you've got the latch for the bonnet that needs to go through there as well, but that's kind of where it needs to be, and as you can see, it's right up against the front at the moment. So yeah, that should be alright actually. Right, so bottom's all cut out, trimmed the top out. If you ever look at the Australian Cortinas, this is all recessed for a radiator anyway, because they put that massive 6-cylinder in it and trim out around here as well. But once I get the radiator in there where I want it, I'll plate all that up, plate all the bottom and everything as well. It always looks worse before it looks better. Right, so what I did was the bit that I cut out of here before, I trimmed that up, moved it down tacked it all in that place, made a couple of plates to box the ends in, and then fully weld all out. It's actually pretty bloody strong in there now. I'll stitch weld all that up, seam seal it, and then I'll spray the same underseal along here and along that chassis rail as well. I want those in underseal as well, so it's all same as in these holes, you know, get it right in there. And then up under there as well, I want to seam seal. It's all paintable, so it will go gloss black afterwards, but it just seals everything. So up under there is going to be it, up along the chassis rail, and all those holes, and then the whole front end as well will be under sealed. Just that lower part, from basically that lip there all the way down. Still got to weld up the top yet. Well, that's it all welded up. It just needs to be cleaned up. A little bit of filler on the top, but it's sunk back quite nice. You know, you've got, I'd say even that fan there wouldn't stick out as far as what the radiator did factory, so that might be alright, but fits in there. Can get to all the water pipes, fills the gap. We've got airflow between, I don't know if you can see in there, between the radiator and the intercooler. Heaps of flow through the intercooler, and then also heaps of flow through the radiator. It's good, and enough air going into the engine bay. Yeah, there's a few things that were, I don't know what happened to the video of them, but putting together the catch can, the overflow bottle, and the washer bottle, pretty simple stuff, but I don't know what happened to the footage of those, but there's a little bit here. Catch can, washer tank, overflow. I'm not really a big fan of this fan shroud. I know you should have a little bit of a gap, but you know, this wasn't exactly cheap, and it's not a good fit. So I think I'm just gonna have a go at making my own, and swap the 12-inch fan or 11-inch fan out for the one that used to be on this Cortina, which is a 16-inch fan, and that thing cooled this car amazingly. See how we go. As you can see, there's already a bit of a gap here, so if I can come up just a little bit higher, that should be enough gap, but fully surround the full thing. Then should be better than that one. Give it a go. Well, that's definitely just gonna bloody fit. Keep these mounting holes, but instead of centralizing it, I might move it over that way as far as I can, for the simple reason is it might offset just enough for the water pump pulley. See, I'll do some measurements anyway. I gave the fan a bit of a satin black. Some of the accents in the engine bay are going to go satin black, so that's the paint I'll be using, but you can see the difference in the size of the fans. And then we just made that shroud. It's not the thickest aluminium I would have liked, but it's what I had, so it should do the trick nicely. Much better. There's no way that won't keep it cool now. It's all sealed as well. Like, it wasn't the thickest aluminium I would have liked, but I used this alien tape on the inside, so it is fully sealed. And then with a little bit of bead rolling and the actual gap that was in there anyway, it's a 12mm air gap all the way around. And that fan covers almost that whole fucking radiator. Should do the job nicely. Well, after a few cardboard templates, I've ended up with this. Okay, not as thick as I'd like in the aluminium, but a few dimple dies in there and we'll see how strong it gets. So the last piece was a heat shield. You know, something you can tuck some hoses and the wiring behind. Helps stop the brakes from boiling over. I've done that before, and it does happen with too much heat. So it's quite nice. I followed the firewall shape. Once the engine bay is all painted, it'll be quite nice in there. I might just trim the top of that off. But yeah, it looks good. So you got your washer bottle, heat shield, intercooler, radiator, now with a 16-inch fan, overflow tank, and catch can. All in all, that's pretty much the engine bay nearly done. I just need the intercooler piping, the 290s, to go off there, so I can just figure out where I've got to cut in there, and then make the top mounts for the radiator. I've already made the bottom mounts. Just going to make top mounts and trim these sides to suit, and then that'll be it. All the hose pipings have all been run, so once that's done, I'll clean it, clean up the top, give it a bit of a body filler in there, and paint it all a high gloss black. And then everything else in here will be going this satin black, so that'll be going satin black on top of the gloss, and some of the other panels up there, that'll be satin black. So, you know, it'll look nice. Well, thanks for watching.